Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Designated Podcast. This is episode 10. We're in the double digits now, boys. We made it. We took the week off last week, and then the week before that, just because 4th of July and all that. But, yeah, we're back this week. And, of course, MLS is back this week. That's very exciting for us because that's what we are. So, but yeah, today is July 9th, 2020. My name is Jules, and I'm joined today by Jacob.
What's up?
As well as Joss.
What up?
Alrighty, boys. So, obviously, the big news this week, MLS is back, started last night, Orlando and Miami, and continued today, Philly, NYC, and Montreal and the Revs, which we will get into those results later. But the big news coming out this morning was it is official. Nashville are the second team to, I believe, be opted out, or did they opt out themselves, of the MLS is Back tournament. Of course, Dallas being the first because of they had a lot of COVID-19 cases, a lot of positive tests in their squads. So MLS opted them out of the tournament. But yeah, that is the big news happening this week. And we just want to go ahead and start out by discussing what we think this means for this tournament going forward. If either of you guys want to start.
Sure. So for me, I really do not think this is as big a deal as many people are making it seem like. As a few people might know that they're supporters of the NWSL, the Orlando Pride actually had to drop out of that tournament for a very similar case, but the NWSL has been continued to run well and effectively. And while I think there are some issues with what's sometimes presented and what we have seen with Orlando, I have full confidence that this tournament will be able to move forward and that we'll be able to keep these players safe. And that we'll be able to see this tournament through.
Yeah, I think it's really, this entire tournament is just kind of I believe Taylor Twellman said it best. He said it's no longer a 24-hour news cycle. It's more of like a 3 to 4 hour news cycle. And so it's really just like we just see what happens as it's happening. There's no really easy way to predict what's going to happen in the future of this tournament. But yeah, I think players have every right to be concerned right now. I think when you look at it, just being stuck in a bubble with these two teams, or I guess it is separate bubbles, but even still being just in the same vicinity as these two teams would be concerning, I think, for any player at the moment. Of course, we know there are multiple players who have opted out of this tournament already, Carlos Vela and Jonathan Dos Santos being the big names. But yeah, I think players have every right to be concerned at the moment. But I think it's really, we just have to wait and see what happens at this point.
Yeah, I think it's a big move from MLS because I'm going to be honest, I wasn't super confident about the way things were going beforehand. You know, Jules, I think you had a track of how many cases there were.
I lost track. That's how bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
exactly.
I think it was 10 from Dallas, 9 from
Nashville. Yeah.
Then I believe it was only 2 from all the other MLS clubs.
Yeah,
combined.
I think you're right.
So realistically, I mean, while those numbers, 21 is awful and 2 is too many. I think we can all agree to that.
Right.
But if it's about the remaining teams, realistically, that's not as bad as what was originally thought, I believe.
Yeah.
I think Twellman said that on the latest round of testing, there was only one positive case, and then that was later said to be negative. So
was that testing after they got there? Or?
I think it was after they got there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was. He said whenever the latest round of testing was. So, I'm actually surprised by how well the start has gone. I'm a lot more confident now that Dallas and Nashville have been removed. I know that sounds bad to say, but it was the right move. I think it's a bold move from MLS, especially because I don't think they want to piss off the owners or anything like that. Because this this is money they're missing out on. So I could understand why they'd be mad about it.
Right.
But some of these things you have to do to protect the majority of the players, and they've done that.
Right, and I think another question that I have right now that's kind of related to the tournament is just these two teams, they've obviously missed out on the chance to get 9 points to their season tally because that's how the group stage works. I'm kind of curious of how that's going to work. I think the obvious solution is just to have them play each other 3 times, and then that would be that. But I don't know. That almost feels unfair because if you put Dallas up against a team like San Jose, they probably have a good chance. But if they're up against Nashville, they might still have a good chance. Never mind. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Like we said, 3 to 4 hour news cycle. We just, as things happen, that's when we report on them because there's really not a good way to predict how anything's going to happen anymore. But yeah, I think. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to say on Nashville or Dallas?
I'm gonna miss seeing Paxton Pomykal.
Oh.
I have to wait longer now, and I'm sad. I'm missing Reggie Cannon.
Not Reggie.
I'm sad that I don't get to see him. Dax McCarty, my king.
Himi Medranda.
Is that the first time you said
Jules? I beg.
That is the first time you have ever said Himi.
Himi.
No, I can't. This guy. That is the first time. No, do not try to play it up now, bro. You said Jimmy Madronda constantly.
I know. I just wanted to do it this once.
You can't switch it up now, bro.
It's just like let me have this.
It's like switching your favorite team. No way. That is BS, and that is wrong.
Anyways, and Zendejas as well, right? He's with Nashville.
Nashville, yeah.
Yes.
The only thing I have to say on it is I'm just disappointed because I think FC Dallas really could have made a good run in this tournament.
I think so too. I think their group was I think that was their ideal draw because if you look at any of the other groups, I'm not sure if Dallas. I think they would have stood a chance. I'm just not sure if they would have gotten through as easily. But I think this was like their group to get through because, I mean, Seattle's really the only major threat to Dallas in that group. But Vancouver and San Jose, I would think to be pretty easy wins for Dallas. But yeah, that's just such a shame, and it really takes out just a big chunk of the youth that we wanted to see in this tournament. Of course, we mentioned Paxton Pomykal, Reggie Cannon, and even with Nashville, oh my God, I'm blanking on the names, but of course, the one that comes to mind for me is Jimmy Madronda. It's just there's so many players that we don't get to see, and so many of the coaches and the tactics that we don't get to watch now. It's just a shame because now we're going to have to watch Chicago versus Seattle again, and that was not the most entertaining match in the world. But
well, yeah, I think one benefit is we don't have to look at that ugly graphic now that has 6 groups and the rest have 6 teams in a group and the rest have 4. Thank you, Dallas and Nashville. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. They sacrificed so that we could not
They walked so we could run.
So our eyes could not burn.
They're so brave.
So brave. But yeah, I'm trying to remember. There were a couple of group stage matches postponed. I don't remember which ones they were though. They might have just been Nashville's. The more that I think about it.
All of Chicago's got postponed, obviously, as well.
All of Chicago's? Oh yeah, because they
had the
oh yeah, you're right. But yeah, I guess just moving on from that and staying on the tournament topic though, what are your guys' just first impressions on the tournament so far?
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, dude.
The goalkeepers have not lost form.
They really haven't, bro. Matt Turner, that save was really something for the Revs at the death earlier.
Andre Blake this morning was fantastic.
Oh yeah. I heard.
I'm like,
was Sean Johnson?
I got up to watch it and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is phenomenal. No, Sean Johnson, he was not as good.
Ah, dang.
The goal was kind of his fault, but other than that, bro, like Andre Blake was phenomenal. Matt Turner was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Luis Robles was all right. The Peruvian goalkeeper for Orlando, I forget his name. But he did really well last night, I think.
Gallese?
That doesn't
Right?
sound right.
I don't know. Gallese. He's the Peruvian guy.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's 2 L's. So
Gallese, yeah,
yeah,
you're right,
Gallese.
right. Yeah, you're right.
John's knocking on me for saying Himi, but not Gallese.
Oh wait. Oh, you mean Galaxy? The Los Angeles Galaxy?
Do not do that. It's like saying quesadilla, bro.
The Los Angeles Galaxy, bro. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely saw that in the keepers, Gallese, and I watched a little bit of Blake's highlights. He was pretty good, but I was watching the Revs versus the Impact all evening, and Matt Turner was really good for the Revs. What is Montreal's keeper's name? He let
Diop.
Diop, the guy who let in the bicycle kick from Iko Para.
Yes, sir.
Or sorry, he didn't let it in. Iko Para gracefully flew through the air and knocked home a bicycle kick. But God, I don't know. Did either of you see his error in the first half? That was really
when he came out of his box really far.
Oh yeah, he came really far out, and then they almost like I think it was Gustavo Bo, or what's the Polish guy that they have up top now? I forgot his name.
No, it was Bo.
Yeah, it was. Okay.
Yeah,
he just like touched it around him and tried to go for the chip, and was it? I think it was. Well, I don't even know the Montreal defenders' names anymore. Is it? I remember.
I mean,
Binks.
it looked like a shot cross, Strauss, Benny Feilhaber.
Yeah, Benny
type
Feilhaber.
deal. But I mean, I don't think it was. Oh wait, I don't think it was anywhere close to going in.
It wasn't, but I think Montreal maybe lucked out a bit there because that was a pretty bad error from.
I mean, on a better shot, yeah, I think.
Yeah,
they're in trouble.
That should have been converted, definitely.
Yeah, but
especially with Gustavo Bo, like, guy was on fire last summer.
Oh man, he was.
And he played pretty well today, I thought.
He played great. He scored the winning goal. So I mean,
I loved watching his runs from deep and like just going up against like a 49-year-old Rod Fanny.
The man is a fossil. But yeah, Gustavo Bo. That was one of the signings last year that I was like, oh wow, this could turn the Revs around. Just him combining with Carlos Gil, and then of course Kellen Rowe returned in the offseason, and he's been pretty decent for them since returning, because he just hated to get a good performance in SKC, but we won't talk about that. But
and I mean, they're all playing under our Lord and Savior, Bruce Arena.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who has now outclassed Thierry Henry.
Wow. I'm sorry. This is a totally off-topic question. Is Teal Bunbury still with the Revs? Do we know?
He actually came on today. He
came on today, dude.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's my goat.
He's got that number 10 still.
Oh, hell yeah, bro.
It's like things have never changed.
Bro, Teal Bunbury, my goat. Oh my god. But yeah. I'm gonna move away from the actual like soccer aspect of the tournament. I want to talk about my first impressions on just like the broadcasting and all that in general. Of course, I'm like big into video. I'm the one who records and edits all this, but it's like I just want to talk about the camera angle from that Orlando Miami game, and just like that was awful because the camera doesn't pan all the way down to the touch line. So every time the player goes out of frame, you're like, oh shoot, well it's out of bounds, throw in. But no, they come back in still dribbling the ball.
I mean, it's kind of like they despawn for a little bit.
They despawn.
Like they're gone. They have gone from the fabric of existence until they come back in frame.
Oh yeah, but I
part is
Schrodinger's Orlando City player.
Schrodinger's Dwyer.
Schrodinger's left back.
My favorite part about this whole entire thing is that there are no fans and there are no obstacles getting in the way of these cameras. Like at most times at games, like you have to work around the fans, that way they can truly enjoy the experience. So sometimes you suffer from the angles for that very reason. There is nothing preventing the MLS from having just the most optimal view at all time.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just like I think their big problem is that from what I can tell, it looks like they put the camera on top of something or like inside of a window, and there's just no better angle if they move down. It would be too close to the pitch. But if they move up, then they have just a better view over top of it. I think that's the issue that they're running into, just from like me being able to tell from a technical perspective. But it's like the Revs Montreal game had a perfect camera angle today. Like that was fine. So I don't know. Maybe they should have just not used that field, or maybe they didn't have an option. But it's not like it wasn't the end of the world to me. It's just like that's just something I noticed I thought was funny during the broadcast. But yeah, I think another big thing, Jacob, I think you said it earlier today, is just like the crowd noise was kind of it just kind of took you out of the game, really. I forgot what.
No, honestly, I felt myself like kind of starting to lose a little bit more focus once they started pumping it in, because it didn't feel organic. I think one of the things the Premier League has done really well is that they haven't necessarily overplayed the volume aspect of it. So it feels to a degree somewhat realistic, or at least just to the degree where it's not noticeable. Yeah. So like kind of like get the feel, but not necessarily just feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, and part of getting that perfect is just finding the right sound engineering. It's something that FIFA does every year, obviously, the artificial crowd noise. And they do it perfectly. Like FIFA does it amazingly, but that's because it's programmed into the game. So when you transition that, Joss, I think Joss just croaked.
Rip.
Oh, he's back. Okay, but when you transition that audio engineering from game to real life game, it's a bit of a hard transition. I think the Premier League did really well on it though, but MLS I think still has a ways to go, because it was really loud, but B, it was kind of unrealistic and just kind of takes you out of the game. But
now, from what I understand, this was just a TU and DN service, and I think ESPN is going to keep the feature where crowd noises are not being pumped in. I could be wrong.
Oh, really?
Understanding? Yes.
Oh, okay. I had no clue about that, but that's interesting.
I'm going to tell you why I'm extremely excited about that. I am so pumped to hear Peter Vermees sing his ass off on Sunday. I need nothing more in my life right now than just that.
I've heard a good few F-bombs already, like over the crowd noises today. So
I think the audio engineers or the sound production guys are being told that whenever the ball goes out of bounds, just mute it, just absolutely cut the sound.
That's the thing, is like from just like a technical perspective, that's just not how it works. It's like it takes you out of the game, it takes you out of the experience, and you just feel so unimmersed at that point, I think, is the big thing. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think I do prefer it without sound, just because I love being able to hear like how these players and the coaches operate during the entire 90 minutes. It's just so interesting to me. And I think did ESPN, did they have like during the game? No, they didn't. I don't think they did. One of the broadcasters for the MLS All-Star game mic'd up one of the goalies and then the referee, and I thought that was really entertaining. I was like, what if they did that for the tournament? Just like every game, mic up a random player for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, they had Guzan and Zimmerman.
Yeah. That was.
I think
that was
were both mic'd up.
Yeah, that was last year.
And they were playing in Orlando.
Right.
And yeah. Guzan's the Atlanta goalkeeper, so he was being heckled the whole time, and you could hear it.
I love that.
It was so funny. It was very the MLS, and I was a big fan of it.
But yeah, I think that would be a very cool thing for them to bring back, and it would be easier now because of the water breaks. They could just like when the water break comes, they can just take the mic off them and then just go for the rest of the half.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. If I was a player, I would hate to.
Oh yeah, no, but like it would just add such a the MLS feel to it, and I would love that. But obviously for the players that would suck. But selfish me wants to see that. So, but yeah, I don't think I have any more first impressions that I felt in general. Oh no, I did. Some of the lighting I think it was at the end of the Orlando Miami game when the when the floodlights came on at the end of the Orlando Miami game. There's just something about them. I think they don't light up the whole pitch. I think is the big problem. Is like some of the the corners of the pitch are still kind of dark. I don't know how MLS would fix that though. So I think I'm just nitpicking, but first impressions.
But overall, I'd say general impression. I thought MLS did an amazing job setting this up so far. And
100%.
For as much negativity that has been surrounding this, overall, I think has been generally positive for the fans.
Right, and I've said this multiple times in the past. I am so freaking glad that ESPN is the one broadcasting most of the games. Because if it was Fox Sports, I would not want to hear Alexi Lawless talking about any of this right now.
I would not. I feel like he'd be just full of criticisms.
He would. Yes, 100%, and that's what I hate about it. Fox Sports is Alexi Lawless, so and especially
right, bro, just chill out.
with the protests, and of course we know he's not a huge fan of those. It would definitely not be pretty to hear that on live television.
That is exactly where my mind went. I mean, imagine that beautiful display we saw before yesterday's game, and then just having to hear Lawless come on right after that.
And say, it's braver to stand now than sit.
God, Lawless, bro, get out, bro. He needs to be gone. How does this man have a show?
Bro.
He is the worst. But, yeah, I've said it before. I think ESPN just knows how to broadcast soccer, because I feel like a lot of ESPN during the pandemic has been just kind of showing, just a showing of unity. Like, that's what the sports world has been. And that's what ESPN has really embraced. I feel like Fox Sports would not pull that off well. And I think a big example of that is ESPN's intro to the to MLS's back. We can say the MLS, yeah, to the MLS's back tournament. The video that they showed at the beginning was really good. I thought that was a really good touch. And then of course, with the players, all the players of color coming out on the field for the Black Lives Matter moment was really something. And we're gonna go ahead and transition into that conversation. Is of course the Black Lives Matter tribute at the beginning, and just everything that we've been seeing over these first few games. The Philadelphia Union players, on the back of their jerseys, they had the names of victims of police brutality, which was a very good touch. And of course Thierry Henry knelt for the first 8 minutes 46 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I got that right, but
yeah
there have been a lot of tributes over these opening games, and it's really good to see that. I think at this point in time is that MLS has shown, I think, since the beginning of just all this the unrest in this country, they have shown that they are just behind the movement of unity and inclusion. I think that is the big point that MLS has been putting across, and they really showed that here. And of course, they showed it with the creation of the Black Players for Change. I believe that was the organization's name. But yeah, MLS has really, I think, been good with how they've handled this situation, and it's very good to see that they are not tone deaf to it at all, unlike a certain commentator for Fox Sports. But but yeah, it's been great, and that tribute at the beginning was very powerful.
Yeah, I was a big fan of it because I'm a firm believer that you can't separate politics and sports, especially not nowadays. And MLS held up to that. They did everything that I think was necessary. They went above and beyond, I would say. Having the minority players walk out.
I think that would be the right word to use.
With one another in a solidarity to show their support. It was wonderfully powerful. Especially when you consider the fact that this is like many people are tuning in to watch MLS is back. I think it was like 440,000 people
Wow.
tuned in to watch and tuned in to see that, and like ESPN MLS coverage averages only about 200,000.
Dang.
So people came in and saw that, and MLS knew that they were going to be in the spotlight for like the 3 to 4 hour news cycle that Twelman said.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew that they had this chance to make a statement, and they really went out and did that in the best way possible.
Right, and I'm gonna get a little bit off topic here. Or I guess it's still on topic, but it's just like a lot of people. I saw a lot on social media. It's just like, this is really overblown. That was too much. It's like, that's the point. Like,
yeah,
it's supposed to be overblown because it's supposed to display just how ridiculous it is to kneel on a black man's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Like,
yes,
that is the point. We're supposed to make you feel uncomfortable with this.
Precisely. I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say. If you're feeling uncomfortable watching that for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, imagine how George Floyd felt for that time.
Precisely. But and Thierry Henry today, of course, knelt for the first 8 minutes and 46 seconds of the Montreal Impact's game against the New England Revs, which was, I think that was a very good touch from Thierry Henry. He's ever since he's arrived, it seemed as though he's really been just a people's person with the Montreal Impact. I think is the big thing. He just really seems to care about the people of Montreal in general.
Yeah, no, and building upon that, like, Thierry Henry isn't American, right?
Of course not.
But he's still so well connected with everything, all of the politics that are going on over here, and I think that speaks to his character, and it speaks to just the sheer magnitude of what is happening right now.
Yeah. But we had one more. Oh yeah, the Philadelphia Union. I thought theirs was very well done.
Yeah,
they replaced all of the names on the back of their jerseys with the last names of victims of police brutality. Amongst them, I think it was Tamir Rice. There's Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, obviously. I guess. I don't want to say the biggest names because that's not correct. I guess just the biggest cases that we've been hearing about over these past few years. But I think that was extremely powerful, and that was a huge, huge statement from not just the Union but also MLS. Of course, we saw with the Premier League, just the Black Lives Matter that replaced the players' names for 2 or 3 weeks. I can't remember how long it was, but. Regardless, I think the Union's way of doing it was just a very nice touch from them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Jacob. No, you got it.
I was just gonna say special shout out to, is it Warren Crivoli? Maybe he's been the midfielder for Philadelphia Union. He's been a huge advocate during this time, and just I believe he was the one that was in charge of making a lot of the warm-ups and then the MLS's black face masks during this tournament, and has been leading a lot of the charges. So shout out him. Been doing a lot of great things.
Yeah, Crivol. I think it was Crivol. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Crivol. Okay.
Also, shout out to like the Philadelphia Union players. The black players had like some of the bigger cases on the back of their shirts, but the white players actually had police brutality cases that they had learned about through the Black Lives Matter movement on the back of their jerseys.
Yeah, and
that was the ones that we hadn't heard about, or like weren't necessarily as televised or as well known, that they went out and like learned about them purposefully in order to A, become more educated, but B, I think to also grow this connection with their team and show that they are not alone in this, which I think was another great touch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just think it shows that education on this matter really does affect just the mentality that you have towards it, and I think that it really does go to show for just all the people that are saying stick to sports, just kick the ball around, don't talk about politics. It's like, I think that this is the perfect platform for people to use their voice. I think that is just the main point that people have been bringing out of this is it's because that we have this platform. It's because that we are able to play sports on a huge stage every week that we should be able to make these statements. And I think that the union and MLS and Thierry Henry and just every team so far has shown that they are willing to use their platform for the greater cause. So I think that has been a very good moment, or a very good thing to come out of this tournament so far.
Yeah, because no matter what anyone wants to say, these athletes are being looked at in the spotlight, and what they do, people will follow.
Exactly. They're role models, and what better way to use your influence as a role model than, to just to educate anybody on these matters that are going on in our country right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Unless either of you had anything else to say on that matter, I was going to go ahead and move on to the results of today.
And last night, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, sorry, and last night.
The first 3 games, yeah.
Yeah, just the first 3 games in general. Next week we'll cover just whatever games came about since then. But obviously this week we only have 3 games to talk about. We would have had 4 if it weren't for Nashville dropping out and delaying their game against Chicago beforehand anyways. But we have 3, so we'll take it. But obviously our 3 results from this week: Orlando beat Inter Miami 2-1. The Philadelphia Union topped NYC 1-0, and the Revs beat Montreal 1-0 as well. Not exactly the highest scoring start to MLS's back, but the first game against Inter Miami was definitely a thriller. I think that was a pretty good one, saving it for the last minute. Watching that live was really entertaining. Nani put one home in the 94th? 97th. Yeah, at the death. Quite literally at the death, because it was 10 minutes of added time because of a really awful injury.
Slowest stretcher
yes.
I've ever seen wheeled onto a field. Man, dude, it was just awful to try to watch that.
That was awful. I'm not sure what the situation was with that, but just the fact that I'll just go ahead and say it for anyone who wasn't watching, the Inter Miami player, I don't know.
Reyes.
Well, do we know his first name? I forgot what his first name was, but anyways, Reyes went down after a pretty nasty collision with Dom Dwyer, and it seemed as though he was struggling to breathe, and so the team medics came on, or the team physio, I guess, came on. And signaled to the stretcher to come over, and just for whatever reason it took him way too long.
I think Twellman timed it, and they signaled for the stretcher at like 53:46 on the game clock, and they didn't get there until around 55.
No,
Right.
Dude, it was 4 minutes, man. It was 4 minutes and like 30 seconds for them to get the stretcher on the field.
From the signal to the stretcher?
What? I don't know.
Signaling. No, not from the signaling
From
for
the
the stretcher
from the
to
injury.
the stretcher. No, I'm talking about from when they signaled the stretcher to when that stretcher actually got there.
Okay,
Yeah.
dude, it took forever, dude.
It was.
I mean, from when Reyes hit the ground to when the stretcher got there, it was like 4 minutes.
Yeah, it was a very scary situation, and scary in a different sense than I'd say like the Iko Para injury a couple years ago, or the Eric Garcia injury for Man City a couple weeks ago. Because you see Reyes, he's just, it looks as though he's suffocating, and it's very scary. When you compare that to like Eric Garcia, like it's like not to compare injuries or anything like that. That's not what we're trying to do. But it's scary in 2 very different ways, I think. Because with one of those injuries, it's like that's like a bone fracture, just stabilize the body. But like when he's suffocating, that's like really something's wrong. And just something like immediate action needs to be taken. And it was so weird to me to see just how long it took for them to do that. But I was gonna mention something about that. Oh my gosh, I'm not sure how we should bring up that one tweet from that one guy, but
From that. I mean, I don't think we should give him a platform, to be honest.
yeah, no, never mind.
No matter how small our platform is, I don't think that guy deserves it.
Hey, listen, he probably knows who he is, and you know what?
Hey, we know you're listening.
We know you're listening, and you. Sweet, I get to bleep that out. Let's go.
Oh, you have to bleep out every time I curse on this episode?
No, just the
Just that
Fs.
one.
Just the Fs. But it's okay.
Fuck, dude, that's gonna suck, man.
I mark them down. It's okay, man. But yeah. But this game, besides that moment, of course, this game was pretty entertaining. It took until the 47th. Juan Agudelo scored for Miami, and then Chris Mueller in the 70th minute, which I missed because I went downstairs to get water. Joss, I think you saw it, didn't you? Or was it Evan?
Yeah.
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 I watched it.
I never saw the highlight. Was it just like?
I mean,
Mueller?
it was really good. Like, Nani takes it. Bro accelerates like he's not 30,000 years old. Bro absolutely burns Miami's right wing back. No, they're at a right back at this point because they've gone to a 4-back.
Oh yeah.
He absolutely burns him down the line, and then puts in like a nice ball. And Mueller, who had been playing as like a number 9, I think, up until that point, but had actually switched to the right side when Dwyer went off and Tisho Akindele came on.
Mm-hmm.
So Tisho Akindele took over that number 9 spot and actually did a really good job of like drawing the defenders. Like for the 30 or so minutes he played, he did a really good job of occupying the defenders, giving him something to think about. He had a couple opportunities he could have scored, but Nani purposefully misses him on the cross, and the ball goes all the way to the back post, and Mueller slides in. Robles probably could have done better on it, but I think it's difficult because Ben Sweat was also sliding in, and so he couldn't like know if the deflection was going to take it or if it was going to deflect at all. It ended up not deflecting and going in, and Mueller cussed. I remember that. I remember he cursed. It was pretty funny.
Say on that goal is if Reyes is in there, I do not think that opportunity happens. Also,
No.
Ben Sweat definitely lost Mueller on that play. And even though Mueller's run to me looked a little bit late in that play, from my perspective, I mean, he ends up getting there, so it doesn't matter. So it's really not late, I suppose. But honestly, dude, if Reyes is there, that game is a win for Miami.
I mean, yeah, because I don't think they switch out of the 5-back.
They don't switch out of
They're
back.
not
Even
forced to
those
switch out
first
of
two
the
goals,
5-back, yeah.
the only 2 goals, I guess, that Orlando scores home at the expense of Reyes not being back there, I think, personally. Because they both come from bad defensive mistakes that Reyes seemed to shore up, at least in the first half.
Yeah, it really seemed like after the Reyes injury, when they had to switch formations, it just seemed like there was really something off with Miami.
They seemed uncomfortable.
Yeah, they didn't seem like they knew what they were really doing with that formation, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, when you look at the midfield, when you switch that formation with 2 defensive mids with Will Trapp and Victor Ulloa, you're gonna have some discomfort if you switch from a 5-back to what was their formation when they switched? It was 5-4-1 to a what?
They switched a couple times. It was like a 5-4-1 to like a 3-5-2 almost.
Oh, what?
And then
it switched to a 4.
And then it went to a 4-back.
Oh, okay. So that was that later on in the game when they switched to a 4-back?
After Reyes' injury, yes.
Okay, then yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's definitely one, because those other 2 formations you can really account for having 2 defensive mids in your midfield, but I think once you switch to a 4 at the back, it's kind of harder to have 2 defensive mids without having just 4 players that are constantly on the attack, and they weren't really able to do that with Pellegrini and Morgan. It seemed as though they were tracking back.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, though. Pellegrini, I thought, looked good.
Yes.
You play there to start that second half, dude. I thought, I was like, okay, this is the Inter Miami that we've been promised. Like, the combination of Pellegrini and Ulloa at the start of the half, I was like, okay, they're here. I mean, obviously, what's his face finished the goal. I mean, he scored, like, 6 goals in the last 6 games. Agudelo, man, he's been bad the last 2 seasons. But
But he loves playing Orlando. He's got like 6 goals against him or something like that.
Really?
He's got like a goal every like 80 minutes against him.
I mean, that's not that hard, dude.
True.
But dude, I really thought in that moment I was like, okay, I now understand why people rate this team so highly. Also, big question marks come from me. Why was Pizarro on the bench? Like, do you guys have any clue?
You think it was one? I think it was one of those things. It's like because we've seen it with the Prem and the Bundesliga, where the first half is really close, really contested. Everyone's kind of fit, everyone's kind of focused. But then as it goes on, and especially in this heat and this humidity, like players' performances start to drop, their concentration starts to drop, and that's when a player like Rodolfo Pizarro can come on and just be that player that's a nuisance, that's in the midfield, controlling things, picking passes. People don't want to close him down because they don't want to break formation. But if they don't close him down, then that gives Pizarro the ideal amount of time to do what he wants with it, and you also don't want that.
I would like to say that wasn't. I don't think that was the reason. I'm pretty sure they just said it was because he picked up a knock in training a couple days before.
But, okay, that makes a little. Josh, I think you make a good point, but
yeah,
they without Pizarro, to me, they kind of lacked a goal scoring threat. It felt like, obviously, Agudelo finished, but if he didn't finish that many, he should be dropped immediately.
Yeah, it wasn't just that. When you have Pizarro in that midfield, you also have a lot of creativity. You have a lot of playmaking when he's playing attacking mid. I feel like they really lacked that up until he came on with Lee Win, I believe. But
Lee Win impressed me.
Yeah, but even after that, it's just like the defense just could not really seem to handle it. Moving to the 4-back after Reyes had to go off. It really seemed like they could not find any good moments of passing after that. But I want to say my standout performance before we move on from this game from Miami's side, I have to say up until Miami conceded, I was pretty impressed with Jorge Figal. Is that his name, right? Figal. I thought he looked very solid in the 5-back. I thought that he looked very confident whenever he was going into a challenge, and we know he's good. He played with Independiente, right? Or was it River Plate? No, Independiente in Argentina for so many years. And so we know he's proven, and I think that he's really started to show in this first game that he can be a reliable center back for Miami. And I think he really showed that when he was playing alongside Reyes. But I think going forward, Reyes and Figal are going to be a pretty good defensive pair in MLS. But yeah. I guess we can go ahead and move on to the next game since we don't have much time left. NYC versus Philadelphia. Philadelphia won this game 1-0. Courtesy of an Alejandro Bedoya goal in the 63rd minute. I did not wake up to see this. I forgot to set my alarm. So,
Josh, you're on your own because I worked at that point. So
I woke up to see this because I set my alarm.
What was your general impression? I guess I have to say, what went wrong for NYC this game?
What's gone wrong for NYCFC and MLS play this year?
There you go.
Exactly. No, NYCFC again. I think they dominated a large portion of the game, especially in like the end of the first half, into the second half. Like Philadelphia's goal was like their first touch in the box of that second half.
Wow.
Yeah. So wild. NYCFC. If I remember correctly, they played a 4-back, and they were really reliant. No, it was a 4-1-4-1 that they wanted to transition in defense. They would press with the midfield 4 to win the ball back, and they would often play it once they won the ball. They would then use Maturita on the left or Tinnerholm on the right to whip balls in and have and since they've got 4 in midfield that have pressed and won the ball, then they've like loaded the box. That was sort of their game plan. They looked for a lot of the cutbacks. It looked like we were watching a City team. And Etihad across the shirt, the City branding, the light blue, all of it. It looked like we were watching a City team, but they couldn't finish. And that's either Andre Blake being really good because he had a couple really good saves.
I heard he was amazing.
And then like a couple saves that like you'd expect him to make just because, but then it's like difficult because his positioning was so good. So
Yeah.
again, like NYCFC's finishing kind of failed them. As for Philadelphia, I was really impressed with Brendan Aronson again. Kid has really stepped up in his run game, in his running, in his pressing ability. In the second half, I think he was a little quieter. I remember he had a couple opportunities where he sort of messed up like an easy 1-2 that had like an overload on the right hand side where then they could get across in. But other than that, he was really good. I was also, besides Andre Blake, my man of the match was actually Mackenzie. What's his name? I almost said Mackenzie Sands. That's not his name. Mark McKenzie, I think.
Oh, Mark McKenzie.
Yeah, Mark McKenzie. The young center back. He was really good. He won almost every tackle. He won lots of aerial duels, which he was against Eber, so he's not like renowned for being good in the air, but I think he's still a competent striker that can cause him trouble.
Yeah.
But he cut out things really well. I was really impressed with what I saw from him. I think Philly's like shape, it was very consistent. Like they were very, very disciplined in their shape and their formation. On the other side of the ball, NYCFC's man of the match for me was Maxi Morales, who's surprised. Maxi Morales was doing everything he could to sort of dictate play. He dropped deep a lot to pick up the ball and try to pick a pass. He also did a lot of work off the ball, which Matt Doyle pointed out. He did a lot of work off the ball. He was winning second balls to stop counterattacks and then sort of starting plays from there again. So I was really impressed with what I saw from him. But it was a good game. It was a really good tactical game. Two like different systems, one that's more rigid, one that's in like what Philadelphia do, one that's more rigid, but also they did well against a free-flowing NYCFC who just can't seem to finish.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats right now. NYC 17 shots, only 7 on frame. That's just it's not good enough.
No.
They had majority possession, 60% possession. Philadelphia had 41. Wait.
101%?
Yeah, MLS says that Philly had 41 and NYC had 60. That doesn't...
Classic
How?
MLS.
Who did this? Impact Font. Who did this?
But yeah, and NYC's passing was pretty good, 87% accuracy. It's just, again, they did not finish. I didn't even watch the game, and it's just like you look at these stats, they just didn't finish. They really just need to get that together at this point. And it's like I'm not sure exactly like what their solution to that would look like. I think at this point, I think my problem with them is I'm not too convinced with their wingers at this point. I'm not 100% convinced by Tajuri Shradi or Castellanos. I still think Jesus Medina. I think he would probably be a better choice.
He came on in the second half and instantly added something. Something clicked.
Yeah, and
he was starting a lot of plays, especially around Philadelphia's box. He was able to get involved in a lot of the plays there.
Was Mitrita? Was he there? Or is Mitrita still in NYC?
No, Mitrita didn't play.
Oh man, I think once Mitrita returns for NYC, I think that's who they're going to go with. But I just think, looking purely statistically at this, it looks like their wingers just couldn't really do their job well in this game, and I think that was partially because of Philly's defense just being really solid all around, and Andre Blake being a beast. But I'm also glad it was Ali Bedoya with the goal. I love Ali Bedoya.
Yeah. And also, I just want to say one thing before we move on to the final game.
Yeah.
There was a moment in the game where Maxi Morales and Martinez for Philadelphia, I don't know his first name.
Yeah.
But so they were Maxi Morales is like I think 5'2", so he's a lot shorter than Martinez is, and so Maxi Morales was kind of shielding the ball and Martinez was kind of up against him, and Morales like throws an arm.
Oh.
But he doesn't hit like the chest. He hits like the abs or something, and you can hear like Curtin screaming, the team like Bedoya screaming. They're like, "Don't foul, don't foul!" And as soon as he throws the arm, Martinez kicks him really hard and draws the foul, gets a yellow card for it. and the explosion of expletives from both Spanish and English was just a sight to behold.
I love that. That's one of the things I love about this tournament is being able to hear the expletives from both sides.
Yeah. But besides that, Martinez was also very good. I will say that. But that was one of my favorite parts of the game.
Yeah, I love that. I hope that we get to hear more of that moving forward. We're gonna move on. The final game of the first three, the Impact and the Revs. The Revs won 1-0. Gustavo Bo goal in the 56th minute. I actually did get to watch most of this. It was on Twitter. I got to watch it up until the 92nd minute when, for whatever reason, MLS decided to cut off the broadcast 4 minutes early. But
I guess Matt Turner made a really good save. I don't know. I didn't see it.
If nobody saw it, then did it really happen? No.
Honestly, that is in contention for the MLS moment. Between that and the stretcher, that's been some really good MLS moments, and it's only 3 games in.
Oh yeah, but actually no, that was a lie. Evan said he watched it because he has TUDN, but like, who has that? Nobody. That doesn't exist. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Evan, bro. We don't care.
But yeah, I'm trying to remember just like everything that happened in this game, but it was kind of
Carlos Gil, man, dude.
He was balling.
Unstoppable. He created balling. 12 chances today, by the way. The rest of the players on the field created 11.
Wow.
Carlos Gil, that is unbelievable.
He is a beast for the Revs. I have to say, we talked about it earlier, the Diop mess up in the first half. Diop is a very error-prone goalkeeper, I think, is what we've learned over these last few years. But I can't remember. Who else Evan Bush. Why did they not start Evan Bush? Do we know? Like, is there any reason why the Impact didn't start Evan Bush? Because, like, Diop...
He's not hurt, is
he? Henri French.
There we go. Diop almost messed it up for them. I think they should have gone with Bush, but that's whatever.
I don't think the goal is really...
It wasn't, but, like...
that was a laser.
Oh, yeah, it was a good goal. But, yeah, looking at Montreal, we've given a lot of praise to Henry-Ball, but we have to say Arena Ball really outdid Henry-Ball today, so...
No, Arena Ball was outstanding today.
We'll give Evan this dub while we take the L for this once, but...
Oh, I'm not taking this L, man. I have told you guys since day one that Henry-Ball needs to be eradicated from this earth.
Look, Jacob.
My prediction's coming true. Water's wet, dude.
Bro's a Wolves fan, dude. Don't let him. Dude swears Adama's worth $100 million. I don't want to hear it.
Dude, I'll settle for the $80 million City are about to pay for him, so he cannot play in the Champions League.
If Adama's $80 million, Rice is $160
million.
Bro,
don't make me cry. I already know about UEFA is gonna drop us down to League 2, but I don't care. So,
hey, dude, it doesn't matter. Wolves miss in Europe.
Did you call UEFA UEFA?
Did I? I don't know. Who cares?
hey, dude, just allow it to happen. Man's grieving.
Pause.
I'm grieving.
I can't allow this. Not today.
Joss, we need to talk about the Montreal Impact and Bruce Arena Ball. Come on.
Come on. Joss trying to talk about UEFA, man. Like, his team can even make it past, like, a freaking, I don't know, Norwegian Tier 2 team.
Hey, Jacob, you know who John Egan is?
Unfortunately,
I do.
Unfortunately, I do now.
Because I do.
Can we get back on track before we go into 20 more minutes of this? The Gustavo Bo goal for the Revs, it was pretty impressive. I was pretty impressed by Gustavo Bo in general from when I watched the game up until the 92nd, but we're not going to talk about that. Carlos Gil, I think, was obviously the one that impressed most people. I have to say, I thought Kellen Rowe was pretty decent for the Revs, which he loves to give out a good performance for the Revs, but not for any other team, but that's whatever. I was also impressed by Pena up until they subbed him off. He almost had the opening goal for the Revs. It was very close. It just curled past Diop's left-hand post. It was very close on the brink of half. But let's see here. I'm looking at the subs that the Revs made. Teal Bunbury, my guy, my goat, came in.
My king, my
But-
my hero, my
but
mate.
not Seth Sinovic, which was a crime. They could have subbed him in for Butner, but they subbed in. Who did they sub in for Butner? I don't even care because they didn't sub in Seth Sinovic. So
That was Butner's debut, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was, yeah. I forgot he even existed, bro. He was like,
Yeah.
where's he been for like the last 6 years? Because like I forgot he existed. But Victor Wanyama, I think, was my pick for the best player for Montreal this game. I thought he did pretty decently in the first half when Montreal were doing well with possession. But then again, just like in the second half, things really began to turn ugly for the Impact. But yeah, looking at the stats, the Revs just purely dominated. They had 19 shots. Of course, only 4 on goal though. Their passing accuracy was 87%. Yeah. Do you guys want to say anything about just like the game in general, like the tactics or anything, like arena ball?
Please, no more crowd sounds.
Okay, I agree with that. Secondly, never been a huge fan of arena ball. Never been a huge fan of Henry-Ball. So this was just to suffer through between that and the crowd noises. So getting 4 minutes early. This was a disaster. But whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I watched a little bit of Bojan. I was kind of just like looking back and forth.
Bojan was quiet, yeah.
That's just kind of been a problem he's had for his entire career. But yeah.
But I mean, like, you look at this Montreal team: Victor Wanyama, Tider, Bojan, Arudi, who's come out of nowhere and been pretty good.
He's been amazing.
Except for I think he had a really bad miss today, but that's Arudi's gonna Arudi. But this is like this. These are playoff caliber players. These are all-star caliber players. I just think that once Henry-Ball is in full swing, we'll actually see the full extent of what they can do.
Yeah, I think Henry just needs a few more games to really gauge his starting 11.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's gonna have a little bit of right, like we said, he would play Diop over Bush, but it's like, you know, maybe in like a couple weeks he'll change his mind on that. Maybe he'll think that Kyoto deserves a place in his starting 11 over Bojan, who's not done anything really. But
can you imagine, Matt, if you had told us, like, remember when Bojan was first breaking in that Barcelona team?
Oh yeah, when he was
17 years old, and he was being called the Spanish Messi.
Yeah.
If you had told us 8 years later that
He would be
that you wanted Kyoto over.
Hey, respect the Honduran Ronaldo, bro. we respect Ronaldo Kyoto.
The Central American Cristiano, my bad.
We can respect we can respect him now that he's not a Dynamo player. But yeah, I mean, on paper, this Montreal side's really good. I just think that Henry really needs to just take another look at his starting 11, because you have a lot of
Time to be fair.
What was that?
He's gonna need time to be fair too. I mean, the same thing you see it in Inter Miami. I mean, it just takes time to enter these systems into play.
100%.
I mean, it's not going to happen, and especially after a 4-month break, if you're a new coach trying to implement a new system without any practice warm-up games, I mean, it's going to be rough. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but I just think right now he needs to reconsider his starting 11, because you have a lot of good players being benched. I think Brault Guillard easily could have started this game. I think that he should be starting at this point for the Impact. You can maybe argue for Tabla, right? Yeah. And, of course, Romel Kyoto and Evan Bush. But, yeah, I think he just needs to reconsider starting 11. The Revs, since we haven't talked, or I guess we have talked a little bit about them.
Well, the Revs, yeah, I don't think we've talked enough about them, but they were really good this game.
They were very good. They had less possession, but they managed to just make good chances out of pretty much every second they had possession. And I think that's really what broke down Montreal and Henry-Ball in the end. was just the Revs when they had the ball, they really seemed like they were just like aggressively pressing at Montreal's back line. It's really a shame that they didn't get more. I thought they should have had at least a few goals. There were a plethora of chances that I thought they should have scored. I just remember so many. I think there were definitely a couple chances where it was like Carlos Gil putting one across the box and Gustavo Bo sliding in like just a millisecond too late.
Yeah.
And it's like I think once the tournament starts going more, I think that we'll start to see the players click under Arena, and we'll start to see Gustavo Bo making that run maybe a second earlier and then putting it in the back of goal and getting a hat trick as he should have tonight. But
yeah.
I
mean, I want to say just one thing about the Revs play is that like they didn't have to play. They realized that they could outpace Rod Fanny and that Montreal defense. Yes. There were a couple times when they just played the ball over the top, through the midfield, went through Tider, went through Piet, and Bo was in, Carlos Hill was in. So I think it was really good tactically from Arena to realize that this is where Montreal was at their weakest. And they worked. It worked really well, obviously. So good for them. Good for Arena, I think.
Yeah.
Shout out Evan. But this is an Arena friendly podcast now.
We now respect Bruce. Okay.
In this house, we respect Bruce Arena.
Do we? I mean,
I think so. Jacob, what do you think?
I don't think we should talk about the incident of 20s.
I you know what? I can try to look past it, but it will forever be scarred in my mind, and nothing.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. It's gone from my mind. I have blocked it.
It's like Chris Wondolowski. Like, have I forgiven the dude, and like, do I even fully blame him? No. Will I always, whenever I think of his name or hear his name, think of that night and that moment? Yes.
I don't get sad anymore. It doesn't control me anymore. I'm different.
I still get sad.
Okay, dude.
That could have been the game. That could have been the game where Julian Green became the next Lionel Messi. But
don't even talk to me about Julian Green, dude. That is so painful.
Bro, I'm telling you, if Bayern would have just like started him a couple more times, he would have been bought for $50 million by Man United the next summer. But no.
Yeah, instead of who's this Bruno Fernandes fraud that they bought?
Yeah, and Pep Guardiola, the bald fraud, was like, no, I'm gonna play. God. What was his name? Thomas Muller? God, who even is this guy?
I'm gonna play Frank Ribery. It's like, chill out, dude.
Come on, man. Julian Green, 10 times the player that Frank Ribery could ever hope to be. But yeah, I think we're done. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes. Okay, we're done. So yeah. Thank you guys for listening. This has been episode 10 of the Designated Podcast. If you are new, please make sure you subscribe. If you enjoy this episode, please make sure to drop a like. And yeah, we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.
Peace.